Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining our annual Agrifood Tech Investor Forum. VANTEC holds 11 meetings per year, and this is one of the 5 themed investor meetings where we invite and pre-screen 20 companies and add an extra hour to the meeting to learn about the investment landscape and hear from experienced investors in a panel conversation. My name is Frank Leffelaar. I'm an angel investor with VANTEC and its associated angel fund eFund. I'm also an executive in residence for agri-tech companies at the Foresight Clean Tech Accelerator, where I mentor companies across Canada and facilitate the agriNEXT program with my agri-tech EIR colleague, James Freeman. Our plan for today is to give you a short overview of the agri-food challenges and opportunities and the latest investment trends and activity in Canada. After that, we'll have a panel discussion with 4 agri-tech investors, and we end with a fireside chat with Lucent Biosciences. Then we'll take a 5-minute break just before 4 o'clock, and my colleague Thelza Lee will take over and lead the investor meeting, where we'll have 17 Agtech ventures from BC and Western Canada present.
So with that, let's start with the presentation. What I wanted to do is to share a little bit of my journey to give you a sense for how I familiarized myself with agri-tech, which is not an industry that I was all that familiar with. My background is in high-tech marketing. But 10 years ago, I decided that I needed to pick a segment to make myself more relevant and in the ecosystem and go deeper. So my interest in agri-tech companies actually started by becoming an investor in eFund, which is an angel fund where investors can join, put some money in, and then together with other angels that have more experience and more domain expertise, look at some companies that we might want to invest in. And so when I joined eFund, they had already invested in Semios, which of course today is doing really, really well. They do pheromone pest control. And I remember the earlier conversations with Michael 10 years ago, and it sounded like a pretty novel idea. And so it's amazing to see him develop that business and turn it into a unicorn. Joining eFund also led me to do one other thing, to make sure that I had a more global perspective of the agri-tech industry. And I joined Agfunder as an investor. And that organization really has been amazing in educating me and helping me understand the ecosystem and the connectedness across the agri-food value chain. So with that, let's start with a little bit of the overview. So agri-food is a humongous business. It feeds the planet. It employs 40% of the population. It's a $7.8 trillion industry. And in Canada, and these are 2021 data, it employed 2.1 million people, provided 1 in 9 jobs, generated around 34 billion of GDP. Canada is the 5th largest exporter in agri-food and exported $82 billion in ag and food products. From the tremendous opportunity, moving on to some of the challenges that agri-food has to deal with. And these issues vary in terms of size and priority by region and subsector. And one of the things that agri-food is a little bit behind on is actually the whole digitalization of the value chain and all the processes. And as a result of that, of course, these problems are hard to understand because we're lacking the data. Food insecurity, of course, a really big one. GHG emissions is a big goal for Canada for coming from the Paris Accord. Digitalization of the agri-food industry, of course, is helping farmers to do more with less through precision agriculture. And so from improving soil health and plant health with precision agriculture to reducing food waste and GHG emission, there is a short and a long-term challenge and opportunities to innovate and do better. Most investors have their own investment lens, and for angels, it's often any great tech, and for impact investors, it's often meaningful change. I personally like investing in agri-food tech because it naturally combines both, especially today, because it has to. And so what I look in agri-food tech is truly innovative technology that can solve a valuable problem at scale and meaningfully transform one or more challenges across the agri-food value chain. The potential to produce more nutritious food with less in an economically and environmentally sustainable manner. And Agfunder has a great job at mapping the agri-food value chain, which you see over here, together with all the applied innovation technologies that can be used to transform those sectors of the value chain. The value chain starts with novel farm inputs, including ag biotech, to on-farm technologies, innovative foods, processing technologies, supply chain innovation, restaurant tech, and marketplaces. This is a quick look at some strong investment themes provided by PitchBook and Raymond James. The investment data are going back to 2020, and basically the big trends are, plant protein and circular egg, $3 billion, ag biotech, $2.2 billion, controlled environment agriculture, 1.7, and farm and robotics, $318 million. In spite of the challenges, COVID-19, climate change, Ukraine, investment in the agri-food sector grew by 85% and was $52 million in 2021. Of course, I would say that's in part driven by all our desire and need and understanding to improve food security and to shorten the supply chain. And here are some data from PitchBook, basically annual and quarter on quarter, that will show you that both at the deal level and at the value of the investments, investment in agri-food tech is holding steady, which is something that not can be said for some of the other sectors. And so really great to see that. And in the public markets, we see a similar situation where all the tech stocks are down by about 23%. S&P for food and beverage was up by 4%. And so this is fairly recent data from just a few days ago. So looking at the opportunity for Canada, we've fallen a little bit behind on investing in agri-food tech, particularly compared to the US. So when you look at the US, people received $4.9 billion in investment. You would like to think that with Canada, a tenth of the size, we could be close to the $490 million mark. And so what we're seeing in 2021, that was $182 million, but we're catching up. And so in 2022, the first half, $121 was invested by Canadian venture capital in Agtech. And clearly the government is investing in agri-food tech as well. This is just a sample of what the Development Technology government organization is doing. And it's a very nice selection of amazing agri-food tech companies. Of course, we also have Protein Industries Canada, who is investing $198 million in projects with consortia that are solving some very valuable problems, particularly to make sure that Canada augments their commodity crops more and ships products by the kilo rather than by the train load. And in addition to the protein supercluster, we also have the ocean supercluster and the digital supercluster that invest in agri-food tech companies. Now, lastly, what I wanted to share with you is actually how surprising it is how the makeup of agri-food across Canada's provinces is actually quite different. Give you some numbers so you get a bit of a sense. So in BC, dairy, vegetables, and nursery plants are the top 3 commodities. They are worth about $1.8 billion in GDP. In Alberta, it's cattle, canola, and wheat, $7.3 billion. Saskatchewan, canola, wheat, and cattle, $7 billion. And Manitoba, canola, wheat, and hogs, $3.8 billion. When I look at this as an investor, I'd say like investing in agri-food tech is great, but I wouldn't just want to do it in my own province. I think to be diversified, I would want to know more about those great agri-tech companies across the country. And I would also love to have more investors from across the country looking at some of our BC companies. And so I think that's an opportunity that's in front of all of us today, and I hope we can make that happen. And with that, we're ready for the panel. Panel members, can you please come to the front? Thank you, everyone, for joining us here today. I'm really happy to have 4 amazing Agtech investors here that all have their own investment thesis and experience to share with us today. Sean O'Connor, he's the managing director at Conexus Venture Capital in Emmertech. Wilson Acton, managing partner at Tallgrass Ventures. Alana Green, principal sustainable food and water at Active Impact. And Michael Rodenburgh, Agtech angel investor and board member for Plantsome and fellow due diligence colleague in some of the Agtech companies.
I do all Frank's heavy lifting.
He's the better writer. Excellent. So as an investor, we all have our own thoughts or thesis of what you want to invest in, why, and at what stage. I would like to start by asking each of you to introduce yourself and your team and why you invest in Agrifood Tech. Starting with Mike.
Starting with me, okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Mike Rodenburgh. I'm an angel investor, as Frank had said. Unlike my esteemed colleague and panel members, I'm not a full-time investor. So, you know, I started angel investing in roughly 2014. I look at all sorts of deals. I am invested in a couple of ag tech businesses. I look at ag tech as just like any investor. It's one of many sectors and in an attempt to have a broad, diversified portfolio. I want to make sure that I spread my risk around many deals, many industries, and many sectors. What was the other part of the question, Frank? Is that it?
What stage do you invest in? Yeah.
So primarily seed stage. Obviously, I've done some follow-ons with companies that continue to need some funding and support if I believe in their focus. But that's
why do you like ag tech?
Well, like I said, I think so. Thank you. So I like ag tech because primarily because I think the world, the UN has projected that by 2050, the world population will be 9.7 billion people. We have a very limited amount of agricultural production land and water. And so I think, as the population of the world continues to grow, we have very limited resources. And I think ag tech has a very important role to play in solving that very, very big problem. And so I think that's primarily why I'm interested in the sector.
You want me to go next? So I'm Alana Green. As Frank mentioned, I'm with Active Impact Investments. I actually started my career in spine surgery research out in New Brunswick and then did my MBA and found my way to management consulting, where I did all sorts of Fortune 500 strategy cases, a couple of which involved food and water. And then towards the back half of my time there, focused pretty exclusively on private equity due diligence at the later stage. And I was always looking for an opportunity to translate those skills into something a little more directly impactful. And about 9 months ago, I joined Active Impact Investments. Active is now Canada's largest seed stage climate tech fund, which is pretty cool. I can't take any of the credit for it because they did that before I joined. But since I joined, I've had the opportunity to really build out our food and water sustainability thesis and investment program. And the reason that really excites me is similar reasons to you. I mean, I think there are some really interesting and challenging macroeconomic factors at play here that are going to touch on things I'm personally really passionate about: global food security, equity, sustainability, and climate change more broadly. And on top of that, I think it's also just an intellectually very beautiful and stimulating problem. These are systems that are not man-made, and there's so much more at play under the surface that we don't fully understand. And I find that really inspiring to get to learn more about every day and hopefully forever.
So I'm switch this one.
Okay. Wilson Acton. I'm a managing partner with Tallgrass Ventures. We're an ag tech focused venture capital investment firm based out of Calgary. We invest across the country. I actually really like the slide about kind of the top 3 by region. I even had this conversation today over lunch of why would you build an ag tech business in Vancouver? There's no agriculture here. And I almost fell over. I said, what are you talking about? There's so much agriculture that happens across the country, and a lot of people just don't think of it that way. A lot of people think of agriculture as a bunch of farmers in Saskatchewan driving in very straight lines. And that's my background. I'm a 5th generation farmer from Saskatchewan that learned how to draw very straight lines in a tractor in my youth. Through a series of events, I ended up in M&A and corporate finance. Was there for about a decade with one of the large national law firms, transacted across a whole host of industries before going back into agriculture to my roots, pun intended, and started building technology companies. So I've built 4, exited 3 of them. I've my fingers crossed that eventually that will be 4, but we'll see. Not everyone works out. And I was actually in the process of building another business in the ag tech space based out of Calgary when Tallgrass formed. And it started with what's a main part of our thesis is it started with helping, I called it scar tissue rental, but helping early stage companies, make traction, whether, strategy development, it was advisory work. And then capital started to follow around because, once these companies got help, they started performing better. And that really is the crux of what we're building at Tallgrass, is we work very closely with the management teams. We don't like to say value add investor because lots of people say that. So we think it's a term that started to lose its meaning, but we'll get right in deep and work very closely with the teams and help them accelerate. We've scaled businesses, we've bought businesses, we've sold them. We've screwed up lots of stuff. And so we got the odd thing right. And so trying to pass that forward. Ultimately, what we're building is we want to be the leading food and ag investment firm in the country, up and down life cycle. Our fund that we're investing out of now invests pre-Series A. And over time, we'll continue to grow. We think it's a shame that we've got an industry which on the data that Frank shared is 8% of our GDP. And there's almost no investment firms that are focused specifically in that area. And I actually think 8% is low, but I haven't found any better data.
Hey everyone, I'm Sean. Thanks for having me out here today. I've kind of a clumsy path in how I stumbled into running the largest ag tech venture capital fund in Canada, but hopefully it'll illuminate why I'm fairly excited about the industry. But I'm a tech nerd from Vancouver that moved to Saskatchewan 4 years ago to launch our first fund. Our first fund is a $30 million fund. We raised it from about 28 investors focused on predominantly Saskatchewan-based tech entrepreneurs. The idea at the time was Saskatchewan had created lots of globally successful technology companies. You look at GasBuddy and Skip the Dishes, IQ Metrics, Vendasta, Solido, a host of neat companies, but less than 0.5% of the venture capital ended up in our province. So we put together this little fund, brought the Vancouverite out who knew a little thing or two about tech and started to invest out there. And it's worked. Our fund's got a 47% IRR. We're spitting money back to our investors already, TVPI above 2, all these things that really proved out the thesis behind what we were trying to build. But we had all these companies coming in the ag tech space saying, oh, great, a fund finally based in the prairies. You guys are going to love ag tech. I thought, ooh, geez, you don't know much about my background then. But we became really interested in the idea of an ag tech fund. And that was the synthesis behind Emmertech, where Emmertech's a $60 million fund focused on ag tech. It is today the largest venture capital fund in Canada focused on ag tech, which is a big problem and certainly a badge that I hope to pass on elsewhere in the coming years. But as we looked at ag tech companies through the lens of our first fund, our view was that you just need to capitalize these companies and invest in them differently than your standard fund. And that's why having specific funds that understand ag tech, it's very similar to clean tech and how you need to invest in it, where these companies you need a lot larger investments up front. That ramp is just as steep and it gets just as exciting in terms of exit valuations, but you can't put in a couple $100,000 at the really early stages and say, go find something that you can sell to farmers. When you think about the largest area that we focus on is the intersection of technology and broadacre farming. And the customer base you're selling to has 30 to 40 growing seasons in their career and 100% of their net worth at stake every year. There's a reason you drive around in harvest season, everything's red, yellow, or green out there representing the 3 big brands in the space, is that they need to know that something's reliable. So our view was we can put together a fund that bets a lot bigger, acts a bit more like an American style fund to invest in early stage technology companies and help them reach a set of commercialization qualities for the technology that's ready to go to these farmers and say, you can use this. That was the general reason why we decided a specific fund focused on ag tech.
Thank you. Thank you also. And now, Sean, since you have the microphone, I'd like to all ask you the question Considering the Agtech investment trends and opportunities for Canada, what themes are you looking to invest in right now, and what are you bullish on? I would say like 30 seconds each.
Okay, I'm going to leave the clean tech angle away, though I'm really excited about that. We've got the true expert on the panel here to talk about that. I think what I get excited about is when I think about what the farm looks like in the future, when we can all argue whether that's 5 years, 10 years, or 20 years from now, the equipment on the farm is going to be a heck of a lot smaller, and it's going to be navigating the farm autonomously. And as we think about what it'll take to realize that future, where you have a whole bunch of pieces of equipment where we abandon the idea for the last 100 years, we've done everything we can to optimize around the person in the machine and make the machine bigger and make that person more useful. When we get rid of that person, we can optimize around minimizing the downside or minimizing soil compaction or areas like that. I'll have to let myself get carried away in thinking of what the future looks like, and then reminding myself that whatever we're investing in today needs to add an ROI to that farmer the first day that they're buying that technology. And then how do we solve those two worlds together? Or how do we take incremental steps to the future that I get really excited about, while also making sure that we're adding value to the farmer today?
So a couple of main themes that we're really interested in. One is around protein, and a lot of people will quickly jump to plant-based protein, which there's a huge opportunity for Canada in. We actually are quite bullish about non-plant-based protein. 85% of the world's protein stack is still going to come from a non-plant form, even over the course of the next 2 to 3 decades. And with that growing population, what's also not being talked about is the population is also consuming roughly 8% more per person, as well as growing, and a lot of that's in the protein stack. So we're very interested on what's happening there. We think that there hasn't been enough innovation around animal and aquaculture in different pieces. How ag can be inputs and the inputs for ag. So one of the companies we've invested in that we're very excited about, just as an example to illustrate it, they have a patented process to convert canola oil or other vegetable oils into an epoxy resin. So this is an example of how ag can be an input into massive industries. These chairs are epoxy resin, and we can now grow that. And then the last theme that we're very interested in is digitization. And so in particular, how do we really move the needle? We think that digital technologies in ag are essentially where ERPs and enterprise technology was in the 90s. And so that's the kind of runway that we're looking at and the opportunity we see.
Thank you. Yeah, so I would say on the clean tech comment, I mean, I don't think there is ag tech without clean tech. The two are so closely related, and that's part of what gets me really excited about it. The particular themes that I'm most excited about right now relate to carbon sinks, which it won't surprise you to hear. I mean, I think regenerative farming, be it for meat, for cattle, for example, using rotational grazing to create carbon sinks and investing in just species or genes that are kind of more naturally methane efficient is super exciting at the moment. We really look for anything that similarly uses tech in order to make the farm ROI better while also creating a carbon sink. Chrysolabs that you've invested in, I know Sean has a really interesting angle on kind of measuring the most important chemicals and minerals across the farm, including carbon, that can create kind of carbon farming opportunities. We've actually just invested in one we just announced today called Agrology that is in high value crops, doing something kind of similar. And then water as well. I think the link between water sustainability and agricultural sustainability is becoming increasingly obvious and critical to resolve. And so anything that can help kind of decrease water utilization on the farm or create kind of irrigation water out of less useful products is really interesting to us.
Is this working? No. Okay. So I agree with everything that the panel has said. I think the only thing I would add, well, two things. I'm not terribly interested in ag tech that focuses on improving the operational efficiency of farms and production. There's a lot of deals these days around AI and the use of robotics. From everything I've seen and read, suggests that they're still not able to keep up with the speed of and production of human labor. And so for that reason, I'm not particularly super interested in that area of the field. Where I am really interested is anything that allows the producer and the farmer to get more yield, improved pest resistance, anything that addresses the food insecurity, climate change, population growth. Those are kind of going back to my thesis around why I'm interested in ag tech, generally speaking. I think those are the areas that I'm really, really interested in investing in and helping with.
Thank you. So on to the next question. So looking at COVID, the war in the Ukraine, high inflation, have your interest and expectations changed in the past 6 months? Has your filter on what you want to invest in changed? And how can founders prepare for that first conversation today? Because your lens changed and it's not going to be the same conversation. So, but the short question that I have for you is, what has changed in your expectations and process to screen, do due diligence, set terms, and check size?
Can I start since I got the microphone?
Yep.
Okay, so I think the first thing I would say is, and this maybe I'm taking this perspective from an angel investor, but I think this applies to all stages of investments, is that the investor needs to first look at what's the risk-free rate of return that I can get outside of a deal that might be putting in front of me. And so, yesterday you could have bought a 9.6% return for a 6-month bond in the US. And so any deal I look at needs to be better than a completely risk-free rate of return that I can get for 6 months in the US government. But with that said, I think what's happened in the last 6 months is everyone has kind of freaked out. But I continue telling myself I have to zoom out. My investment horizon is a 7 to 10-year window. I'm not terribly concerned about what's happening in the next 24 months. We all know these cycles will come and go. We're going to see greener pastures, pun completely intended. And so I think unless you're dealing with later stage deals where you're expecting an exit in the next 2 to 3 years, where the very near term economy has a potential impact on the exit value or the opportunity, I'm not terribly concerned about it. And so I look at all the same things that I normally look at. Is it a good deal? Is it a good founder? Is it a good product? Is it solving a problem, et cetera?
Yeah, my answer is going to be similar, which it hasn't actually changed much for us. The process has changed because processes are taking longer. We're seeing founders take kind of bridge rounds, especially kind of 6 to 3 months ago, in order to prepare themselves for what they anticipated to be the coming cycle. We're seeing folks take in smaller round sizes now because the valuations are a little bit lower than what they were hoping for to bridge to what they hope will be kind of greener pastures in 12 to 18 months. But we as a fund invested through the ridiculous valuations that were kind of 12 to 24 months ago. We continue to invest through the current downturn. And we're looking at business fundamentals. We're always kind of answering 3 questions. The first question is, do you have some sort of differentiated, sustainable competitive advantage in your unit economics, be it sales or gross margin or net margin? Do you have a reason for this business to exist? So is it meeting an unmet need in the market? And is there a market that's big enough to kind of sustain venture level returns?
Agreed. Not a lot's changed in our process. In fact, nothing has. I shouldn't say it. We have become increasingly bullish on ag and food and its impact globally and its role in investing. So if anything, we're getting even more bullish. And I don't know that was possible. We were already pretty excited about the opportunity set. We're investing early, same thing, long horizons. Team is super important. I'd say 50 to 60% of our diligence time is spent on the people. And that goes back to, we want to work really closely with the teams and we want the teams to work with us. They want to work with us. And so understanding that and getting to the real root of that and how we can add value. Our goal is to make a Tallgrass investment dollar to be greater in value to you as a company than another investor dollar. And so that's what we're looking at as we're out in the market.
So based on the trends that we've seen over the last year, the biggest piece that I think I've started to realize is that the farmers have completely lost the voice of their industry. I think that's going to be tough for them to get back. And I think what we saw around the narratives around, reduction of 30% of nitrogen, we can get into that topic if we want to, but that was a good example of an industry that now no longer understands how to communicate to their end consumer and policymakers. And now we're seeing some silly decisions because of that, and then trying to factor that into what we think that'll do long-term for trends. That'd be the kind of the biggest learning. I would say for what we look at differently through our Agtech fund and our other fund that may be useful for some of the angel investors here is really making sure that the founder understands how their technology or product is going to fit within the logistics of farming. It's very, very difficult to bring new innovation to farming in a way that suits a fourth generation family farm. And that's why the best investors are people like Wilson who understand all of the steps that a farmer is taking, and that one problem to solve a solution needs to fit within the general context of what they're doing through the logistics of their farm in the first place.
Thank you, everyone. So maybe heading towards the last questions. What words of advice do you have for investors that want to start looking at Agtech deals?
So yeah, that first piece is make sure that they really understand how it fits. Understand if you're coming in pre-revenue, that it's probably a little bit further away than the founder realizes to get to revenue. It's just, it takes a little bit longer in Agtech. And then again, if you're typically investing in kind of software and B2B SaaS and enterprise SaaS and things like that, just understanding what seasonality does in this space where sales cycles are completely different in this space compared to other areas, and making sure that the founders have a real handle on what a highly seasonal industry looks like, particularly as they start in one market.
One of the things that I think is important, and we spend much time reminding ourselves as well, is careful of the niches. And I raise that because a niche can be a very great place to start. It can be an awesome opportunity. It's probably where you've got really deep subject matter expertise around the problem as a founder, which is fantastic. But is the niche big enough to actually sustain a business? And how are you going to make that transition over? And I think often that starts to get lost of where do we go from here? There's a company that's I see on the list later that's off the East Coast, Picketa. They're very focused on potatoes, which is a niche market right now, but they have a very clear idea of how they're moving out of that. And you don't always see that in a founding team.
Yeah, I would go back to sustainable competitive differentiation. I mean, there's a ton of innovation if I think about just sensors alone within Agtech right now. A lot of innovation, which can be super exciting. It's wonderful for farmers more broadly if they do fit into kind of the operations of the farm in a way that isn't too disruptive. But it means that you have to be really clear that you're still going to have a reason to exist in 5 years or 10 years as others are innovating around you. And then the kind of second piece would be, oh God, I totally lost it. Okay, maybe I'll pass to you and then I'll let you know if it comes back to me.
Absolutely. So yes to all of the things that were just said. I think a couple of things. One is remember that a lot of Agtech is science heavy. If you're an angel investor and you don't have a science background, find people that help you do the due diligence so that you can completely understand the product and what the solution is and how it's solving a particular problem. Completely agree around what you said about solving problems, unique differentiation, and most importantly, solving a real problem. Need creation is hard. The end purchaser needs to know they have that problem. If they don't, it's going to be a hard road to build a business. Do your due diligence on the team. I personally put a lot of effort and time into understanding, has the founder established qualified relationships in the industry that helps me understand that people who know the industry better than I do are buying into their story, buying into their product. And so for example, that's one of the reasons I made an investment in Lucent is, they had a very strong partnership with AGT Foods. They know the ag space a lot better than I do. And that played a big role in my decision. Yeah, I'll pass it back to you.
Yeah, I've got two more, actually. I'm going to double down on the kind of sales and go-to-market strategy that you said, Sean, but I will say beyond just making sure they're prepared for the long sales cycles, that they've got real clarity on how they fit into the existing sales and go-to-market kind of systems that are already a part of agriculture today. Because it can be very inefficient to have to go kind of knock on the door of every individual farmer and hope that most of them are going to buy your product. And then I will also say, find a way, and this is something I'm trying to figure out right now for Active, to get kind of unique insights through the diligence process. So that's something I know that you have both kind of figured out with the LPs you brought to the table and the strategic partnerships that you've established. I think that it is incredibly important to not only kind of be sitting behind your desk as an investor like myself, trying to guess what matters to farmers and how this is going to fit into their day-to-day, but to have kind of real industry insights who can back the technology that you're considering investing in.
Well, thank you so much, everyone. That was very insightful. Round of applause. Thank you. Yeah, and so with that, we're gonna shift around and ask Michael Riedijk to come to the front for the Fireside Chat.
Awesome. Thanks for doing this. So super excited to have this time here to connect with Michael and have him talk to you all here. You know, he's the first investment that we made through Emmertech. You know, certainly a founder that myself and our whole team really admire and is doing some cool things. But we are really excited about the intersection of ag tech and clean tech. And what's cool about Lucent is they really hit that from two different angles, where they're both, you know, a key part of the circular economy and taking waste from food processing facilities. Then their actual product itself, because it has, I'm going to totally screw this up, but because you have the, you know, cellulose binding delivery mechanism they create for nutrients, it doesn't leach away at the same rate that you would see with other fertilizers. So I live in Saskatchewan, and if you drive around and look at our lakes towards the end of the summer, after all the fertilizer runoff hits them, it's gross. So keeping that on the farm increases yields and keeps it out of our water tables, which is really cool. But before we jump into this, do you want to give a really quick overview about yourself and Lucent?
Unless Sean goes up.
Yes, so thanks for being here. Michael Riedijk, and before Lucent, I founded 3 software companies. And as a matter of fact, in 2014, I was on a camping trip with a friend of mine, and we started brainstorming about climate change and climate change solutions. And that's really where Lucent got, where we founded Lucent, basically. We spent the first few years on ocean tech, but we came to the conclusion that that's a really hard market to get into. And so later, 2019, we pivoted to Agtech, basically with the same technology that we developed, but in a different market space. And today, the company is about just over 30 people in size. We have our office here downtown. We have a lab space at the SFU, and we're building a manufacturing plant in Saskatchewan.
That manufacturing plant too is a really kind of cool way to talk about how ag tech is really driving, you know, a different impact in Canada compared to most of the tech space. Most of the tech space comes in the major urban centers. So they're building a facility in Rosetown, Saskatchewan. So I know that, you know, the folks in Saskatchewan are pretty excited about a new technology company that's not just flooding to Regina and Saskatoon, but actually creating a whole bunch of jobs in small town, Rosetown. So you came from a tech background, started building Lucent. I know it's difficult, you know, for me, I've found it being difficult being a non-farmer, non-agriculture background in the space. What are some of the things you've done to really get yourself up the curve in running an ag tech company?
Yeah, that was actually quite hard because it's very different, right? Software versus Agtech. And I also have to say that in high school, yeah, chemistry is not my best class either. So it's all about chemistry now. And so, yeah, we had to catch up on a lot of that stuff. So first of all, I was able to build a really good team around me or with me with the different backgrounds in, you know, in material sciences, in engineering, in ecosystem sustainability, and finance, obviously. And so with that team, we worked like a few years together before we made that pivot to Agtech. We did a lot of we signed up for a lot of incubators, Agtech specific incubators. We went through, I think in 2 years, we went through 7 incubators. The last one was yours, or was the one that Emmertech was involved with, and that was also one of my top 2 basically. But we selected those incubators to be, you know, clean tech or Agtech focused. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And so we participated there primarily to build network, to get to know people in the industry, both on the investor side, both on the end user side. And that was extremely useful to go through. It was a lot of effort and a lot of time, but it was very useful to do that exercise. Well, in addition, yeah, I mean, we did a lot of talking with farmers. And I think, you know, if you're starting in Agtech, you cannot run an Agtech firm out of like a tower here in Vancouver. You need to be on the ground all the time, engage with farmers, ideally have people that come from the, you know, the farming community as part of your team, because it's such a different world and different priorities than what we're used to here, specifically if you're primarily used to running software or building software. So
that was an area that really we admired about what you guys were doing as well when we first started looking into Lucent. So our fund, Emmertech, majority of our investors are from agriculture. They're mostly farmers or agribusinesses. And when we started reaching out to them, Lucent was top of mind for a lot of them on innovative companies that they'd heard of because of the hustle that you guys have where you're going out and spending time with all these different companies. As you kind of switch your hat into the world of investing, with, you know, lots of people here looking to start investing in the Agtech space, what are some of the key, you know, takeaways that you'd provide saying, here's things they should look out for when they're looking at Agtech companies?
Yeah, so again, so Lucent, so our product is a new type of crop nutrition, right? That is like sustainable, doesn't leach and improves yield. Very different than SaaS software where I came from. So the first thing I really had to learn was development cycles, right? It's not like you run 2 sprints and you have a product that you can launch. Like a sprint in this case is a year, right? And that has to do with the seasons. You know, you develop products, you're testing it in a greenhouse. If it's successful in a greenhouse, you bring it to the field, and then it's sitting there for a couple of months. You're waiting for the results. When the results are in, you need to process them. You know, these cycles take a lot of time. The general understanding in the market and also for investors is that companies need 2 or 3 years of trial experience. So that means that you need enough capital to run the company for, you know, 3 years basically. So that's very, very different than software and probably some other markets. The second thing that you need to be aware about is that farmers or growers, like we have from the outside, we have this perspective like, oh, this is like old tech and, you know, it's really hard to get change done in that community. The reality is that most farms are hyper automated. Like you can run whole, you know, 50,000 acre farms from your phone. It's really incredible to see the how technology has been taking on there, and the adoption and rollout of technology in many cases is significantly faster than in consumer markets. So there is a lot of interest and openness to adopt new technologies if it brings better performance, ROI, soil health, or whatever the objective is. But I mean, these people make very, you know, they're making ROI decisions, they're making business decisions, right? That's how they look at technology. So I think that's a great opportunity, but, you know, get your mindset there straight.
And as you think about Agtech generally, you know, coming from the lens of one of the, you know, top Agtech companies here in Canada, what are the trends that you really get excited about over the next year or 2?
Well, I mean, the larger trends have been touched on already, like climate change and pollution and food security and, you know, the fertilizer price increases. And we are playing into all of that. But what I'm not necessarily getting excited about that, but obviously with these really big problems, there is a need for solutions, right? So there is this massive need for these bigger problems, and that gives, you know, provides a great opportunity for every entrepreneur to jump into it. To be more specific, what I'm excited about is two things. First of all, I'm really excited about our trials. Like we had our third year of trials now done. I'm waiting for the data to come in, but I've already seen that, our product is boosting yields with 4 to 6 bushels an acre, which means that for every dollar that they invest, the farmer gets like $4 out. So that's for us a really big deal. On a larger scale, what I'm seeing is, in Europe, in Canada, United States, there's all these new fertilizer regulations that are being put in place. So for instance, in California, the new regulation is that the typical application rate of NPK of 500 pounds an acre needs to be brought down to 200 pounds an acre in the next 6 years. Really significant. It's like over 50% reduction. In Europe, we're seeing the same thing, like a 20% reduction across all fertilizers. And it all has to do with water quality and with energy and carbon and so forth. So in this case, it's not only a nice to have anymore, but it becomes a must have because it's regulatory driven. And that's what I'm getting excited about, because that drives change. And we are here with that right product in the right market. And now there's this extra regulatory push. So that's what I think is exciting.
Right on. And I think we're winding down here. So do I have time for one more question? Yeah, of course. Perfect. I think the most important people here in the room today, as well as those who are pitching online, are the people who are building new innovative ag tech companies, who are the founders of these companies. There's a lot I admire about what you guys have done at Lucent, but particularly you as the CEO and the way that you're driving it, you've been able to keep the treasury full. They've been able to focus on growth, on new R&D. We've got a lot of companies here today that are looking to start filling up their treasury and raising capital. What advice do you have to these founders on how to raise?
I think we have in Canada a fantastic regime of grants, and we have made a lot of use of that. We were able to secure over $10 million in government grants related to clean tech and Agtech. And so it really helps, for instance, to hire a grant writer on your team. It's really going to pay off, or you need to put in the time yourself. We are right now, again, involved in some other programs for further scale up. These grants obviously typically provide matching, right? It's typically our matching grants, but that's a fantastic instrument to get leverage with your investors. If investors want to invest in your company and you already can put $5 million on the table and they need to match it, who doesn't want that, right? Because you get so much leverage. So I would say that is a really big one. Look closely at all these ag tech grants that are out there right now. Participate in a lot of ag tech focused and clean tech focused incubators. It's a great place for networks and to build your network and extend it. And then on the investor side, I believe that it's really important to only spend your time and focus on investors that have alignment with ag tech or clean tech. So do a check-in what their thesis is. Does it align with what you're doing? Otherwise, it's just a waste of time for both sides. So getting good investors in is not only bringing in money, you want to bring in smart money, right? You want to bring in people that understand the market, that have a network, that you can call up and say, hey, what do you think of this approach? And they give you valuable feedback. Those are, I think, my top 3.
Right on. Thank you so much for taking the time to connect here. And it's great to see a founder that's already accomplished so much in this space. You can think about what some of these great founders who are going to be pitching us tonight and today can build their companies into. Thanks, Mike.
Thanks so much, Michael and Sean.
Okay, everybody, good afternoon. My name is Felzel Lee, and I co-manage the VANTEC Angel Network along with the founder, Mike Volker, who is off somewhere enjoying his retirement. But welcome, everybody. It's a beautiful fall day, and I'm so glad to see so many people in person and online. We haven't forgotten the people online. You've been posing some really great questions online, and rest assured that your questions are being forwarded to the panelists, so you should get some answers to your questions. But now we're going to start the VANTEC. VANTEC has been putting entrepreneurs in front of investors every single month since April 1999. So we're one of Canada's oldest angel networks, and we've funded a lot of people. Next. So about VANTEC, we've, well, since we've been doing this, we've funded over 5,000 companies. 3,000 companies have presented and 180 plus members, which makes us the largest angel group in Canada. Next. We like to thank our supporters. Without them, we wouldn't be able to survive this long. So we like to thank the Canadian government, our National Angel Capital Organization, which is the professional organization for angel investors in Canada. And we're also affiliated with the American-based Angel Capital Association. Next. All right, so let's have some stats. I mean, we can never get enough of those stats. So in 2019, we had 32 companies funded at 8.4 million. 2020, 87 companies at 14.6 million. 2021, we had more companies, but just a little bit less investments. And year to date, we're already $10 million for 93 companies. So we get all this data from all of you in the community, online and in person here. So when you receive an email from us asking you for data, please do help us out, because this really helps us when we advocate for policies that encourage the angel investing ecosystem. We are we have a number of funds that are associated with us, like eFund and Woodif, and they're both very active in the investment world as well. We had eFund had funded 7 new companies and 4 follow-on for $885,000 just this past year. And Woodif is an older fund, 10 new companies, 11 follow-on, $2 million. And then as a group, VANTEC is 67 companies at $8.6 million. These are direct investments from you all, the VANTEC angel members. Next. To become a member, it's really easy. It's $600 a year unless you're affiliated with one of our associated partner groups or funds. It's only $400 a year. An online membership is only $300 a year. So there's just take a good look at our website, vantec.ca. You'll find out a lot more details about the different membership levels. Next. Couldn't do this, of course, besides all of you members, our annual sponsors. And some of them have been with us since the dawn of time. And I'd like to give special mention to Fasken, who's been with us from the beginning, SFU Venture Labs, who have given us this great space. And of course, we're supported by all these other great sponsors, Raymond James, OKR Financials, Tandem Innovation Group, Western Pacific Trust Company, Go Recruitment, and InWest Ventures. We have a lot of community partners because we are a community. Give a shout out to eFund, Woodif, Kretzu Forum, Tandem Innovation Group, Go Recruitment, Rocket Builders, Volition, Spring Activator, Angel Capital Association, and National Angel Capital Organization. Okay, here's our agenda. It's also found on our website. So if you've got a device, go to vantec.ca, click on events, click on today's agenda, and you will see that we're going to start off this half of the VANTEC meeting with community announcements, company presentations, and then we will well, those of us who are in person get to partake in the food and drink. So I'm going to ask Dave Thomas from SFU Venture Labs to say a few words. He's big supporter.
Okay. Good. Thank you very much, Thelzel. I'd like to welcome everybody to Venture Labs. Very pleased to see 2 of the companies that are part of Venture Labs will be presenting today, and another company that's part of a Rocket Builders program will be presenting as well. Also like to just mention that one of the companies that has been in Venture Labs for a couple of years company called SpecCGO was originally financed by angels in the Vancouver area, raised an A round a few weeks ago. So they are, it's a drone data platform company. In other words, mostly data that is shot by drones. It has many applications. You'll see hear more and more about them. Applications in industry, forestry, and also in agriculture. So it's something that could be something that will be of interest in the future. Once again, thanks for coming to Venture Labs. We will have a program for early stage companies on December 12th with office hours and a number of topics. I will be publicizing the information on that program in the next couple of weeks. Look forward to seeing everybody later on. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dave. I know you had a really big hand in getting us this space here, this wonderful space. So thank you to you and to SFU Venture Labs. We have an announcement from Natural Products Canada. Do we have a representative online?
Rishi is presenting via Zoom. If he's there.
Yes, I'm here. Well, do you want me to share the screen?
Yes, please.
All right. All right, good afternoon, folks. My name is Rishi Mankity, and I'm the Regional Director for Natural Products Canada, based out of British Columbia. For those of you who don't know us, NPC is a nonprofit organization. We are federally funded by ISID Strategic Innovation Fund, and our mandate is to bring Canadian innovation in the natural product space to market. We work with and support companies that have a biological innovation with market potential. We do that by offering various programs and services to our members. All our programs are non-dilutive funding. NPC doesn't take any equity, and this is non-repayable. So at a very high level, to qualify for our programs, companies need to have a biological innovation. They need to be pre-revenue and have to be a minimum TRL4. If you'd like more information about our programs and services, please visit our website at naturalproductscanada.com, or you can reach me directly via email, and I'll be happy to set up a meeting. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Rishi. We have an announcement from the Canadian Food Innovation Network. Is Jamil Karim here?
We're going to do a switch.
Oh, okay. We have somebody from the Canadian Food Innovation Network. Come on up.
Yeah, so we decided to do a switch. I'm Lavina. Oh, thanks very much. I'm Lavina Gully, and I'm a Regional Innovation Director with the Canadian Food Innovation Network. I like the earlier comment that was made about getting a grant writer and applying for those grants. We have grants, which we are trying to give out. If you haven't heard of us, we were just established last year as a national nonprofit organization, and our mandate is to stimulate innovation across Canada's food sector. Specifically, so we offer grants up to $2 million, so non-repayable, non-dilutive, specifically for research, development, and demonstration projects for post-farm gate activity. So we're looking for any activity happening after the farm. Some examples of projects that we've funded in the past include novel processing of ingredients like seaweed, upcycling of food waste, new technologies for food preservation, kitchen tech, robotics, and restaurants, so things like that. CFIN is a member-based organization. Membership is free, and it also gives you access to our online discussion and collaboration forum. So urge everyone to join. So I'm here with two colleagues, Dana and Jamil. If this is of interest to you and if you're looking for funding, connection, or collaboration, please come talk to us at the break. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now we should have someone from the Vancouver Economic Commission. Are they online or in person?
I'm online, Dalzal. I'm just joining from a cafe.
Great.
I'll share my screen real quick. Here we go. I hope everyone can see the slide deck, but good afternoon, everyone. And thank you, Dalzal, Frank, and the whole VANTEC team for having me here. I'm Hashir Safi. Manager of Economic Transformation at the Vancouver Economic Commission. And just I'm happy to be here to talk to you guys about the upcoming Angels for Climate Solutions program. A little bit about the VEC for those who don't know us. We're Vancouver's economic think tank with a mandate of building a low carbon and resilient economy by helping local businesses accelerate, grow, and scale. I'm here to share about our upcoming 2023 cohort of the Angels for Climate Solutions program. This is a 16-week education and training program to increase the availability of angel stage capital in order to accelerate climate technologies. This program has two intersecting cohort streams. One is geared towards angel investors looking to make investments into climate technologies, and one is designed for climate-focused startups looking to fundraise. So the program is open to accredited and non-accredited investors and is free of charge for startups. The investor cohort actually builds a fund of $100,000 or more, which is invested into the winning startup at the finale. We ran the first cohort last year with Circular Rubber Technologies, who some of you may know, winning over $170,000 in investment. So we're super excited to run another cohort this upcoming year. Applications for investors and startups are open now. So if you're a climate tech or agri-tech startup or an investor interested in investing in this space, be sure to apply for the program. There are limited seats available. And I'll leave a link in the chat, and I think it might be in the agenda as well. And of course, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me via LinkedIn. I'll be more than happy to chat. Thank you.
Thank you very much. As Shir said, his contact information is on the website. So take a look at today's website agenda and you will see his email there. And our next community announcement comes from Global Affairs.
Thanks. Hi, everyone. My name is Claudia Kempe. I'm a trade commissioner with Global Affairs Canada. For those of you who aren't familiar with the Trade Commissioner Service, we are a free service working with Canadian companies to find success in international markets, whether that's finding international R&D partners or finding buyers abroad. The TCS Trade Commissioner Service can help Canadian companies do that and reduce risk in foreign markets. We work with companies by providing market intelligence, introducing them to buyers, distributors, suppliers, whoever it is they might need to connect with in foreign markets. We have funding programs that help to fund any activities related to entering new markets, whether it's translating marketing materials, whether it is hiring business consultants or experts to develop internationalization and export plans. We have CanEx, so Can Export SME to fund internationalization efforts. And I just wanted to draw your attention to this one screen. We also have accelerator programs that help Canadian companies tap into foreign markets. So really accelerator programs to enter markets, and they're sector specific. And we have 3 CTAs or Canadian Technology Accelerator programs focusing on agri-tech. This year we had, I've put up the dates so you can get an idea what they'll look like next year. We had CTAs in Singapore, US, and California, as well as Mexico. They're free to participate in. We don't charge for them. There might be some expenses associated with traveling for in-market introductions. The list of benefits related to these CTAs are on the list there. So market intelligence, being introduced to key industry players in the markets, helping to fine tune your market entry strategy and so on. So wanted to make sure these you were aware of these, and I encourage you all to either reach out to me if you're interested in CTAs or other TCS programming. So my email address is right there. Otherwise, check us out at tradecommissionerservice.gc.ca. Thank you very much.
Okay, we're very lucky to have the Consulate General of Netherlands in Vancouver here. So let's hear from you.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you're all doing well. Sebastian Messerschmidt is my name. I'm the new Consul General for the Kingdom of the Netherlands here in Vancouver. I noticed our country wasn't up there, so we need to talk. Where are you? We need to speak. That's not good. We try to get our relations between Western Canada and the Netherlands as close as possible in both policy, research, and business. And of course, we're proud to be here and honored to be here because agriculture is a business we love. And I brought with me today somebody who embodies that in her very DNA, being the daughter of a farming man herself, grew up on a farm and studying international food business. This is my policy officer, Amy Wezenberg.
Thank you for that introduction. So hi, I'm Amy Wezenberg. I work for the Consulate General as a trade officer, and my job is mostly to strengthen the economic relations between Western Canada and the Netherlands. We've identified a few mutually interesting topics for that, and two of them are clean tech and agtech, which are of course the very reason we're all in this room today. As you might know, the Netherlands is one of the driving forces of agricultural innovation. Not only are we home to some of the brightest agricultural innovators out there, but we're also home to one of the top research knowledge institutions focusing on agricultural practices in the world, Wageningen University. I don't know if anyone's heard of them. Yeah, I see some nods in the room. One of the driving forces behind our power in agriculture is that we work on bringing together businesses, governments, and knowledge institutions to come together to tackle global problems, to drive trade and innovation. One of the success stories basically is that we have one of the highest yields per square meter coming off our lands, and we do it in one of the most sustainable ways possible. If you'd like to find more, if you'd like to know more, if you'd like to have more information, please find us later. Thank you.
It's very simple. We're only one Consulate General for the Netherlands here in Vancouver. I noticed that our data are not on the screen. If you Google us, Mrs. Google will tell you where we are. Otherwise, just van@minbusa.nl, but that's hard to remember. Call us any day.
Thank you very much. Even easier than that. Like I said, go to vantec.ca, click on today's event, and their contact information, all the contact information for everyone who's speaking today is on that website agenda. Now we have the last community announcement from Foresight, which is a well-known accelerator for us.
Hi, nice to see everyone. I hope you can hear me okay there. I'm Leslie McKinnon. I'm the Director of Investor and Indigenous Relations at Foresight Canada. I believe my colleague Craig is also in the room there today. I'm calling in from Calgary, so thanks for allowing me to connect virtually. You may know that Foresight is Canada's largest clean tech accelerator, and you may also know that we are on a mission to help Canada become the first G7 country to achieve net zero. So within that ambition, my role specifically is to help companies connect with capital in a variety of ways. This November, we have a bunch of different events coming up. November 29th, we have demo days in both Vancouver and Calgary. On November 30th, we're bringing together investors, industry partners, and the Canadian clean tech community to recognize this year's Foresight 50, which is our investor selected list of leading companies in Canada that are raising capital right now. Investors in particular are invited to join us in Vancouver for our investor forum and the Foresight 50 showcase, both on November 30th. And we have concurrent satellite events happening in Calgary and Toronto, as well as a live broadcast of our Foresight 50 showcase. So for information about any of those events, please email me. My information is on the registration page. I'm at lmckinnon@foresightcac.com, and I look forward to connecting with you all soon.
Thank you very much, Leslie. So that's it for our live and online and in-person community announcements. Take a look again at vantec.ca, today's agenda, and you will see other upcoming investor events. And they're also up on the screen. Oh, 6. Okay. Well, you will find those, and I see that there is a plea from our startup visa program for some help. Jackson, did you want to say a few words? Jackson is our fantastic SUV coordinator.
Yeah, so we're just looking for an administrative position for sort of a part-time role to help out with some of the technical matters. If you're interested, send the email over at suv@vantec.ca, and we'll look forward to all interested parties, or you can look at the jobs page on VANTEC as well. Thank you.
Or even better, Jackson's going to be around for food and drink, so you pin him down then. Next slide. Okay, here we are. There's the upcoming events. This is also on our website agenda. Take a look. Next slide. All right, so online presenters, if you're online, please mute yourself when you're not presenting. We don't want to hear any beeps or dings while we're hearing your presentation to distract us, so make sure that they're off. Network, even if you're online, you can still network. Our tech team of Mateus, Wendy, and Jackson will work their magic and make sure that you go into the network breakout rooms. No soliciting unless you're a presenter. So please identify yourself if you're online as with the company, as a company, investor, or community. Next slide. In-person presenters. I am standing somewhere near this X that's beneath me so that I am in view of the camera, because we are recording this. And then afterwards, this link to this session will be shared with all of you. So keep your microphone close. You guys can all hear me, right? Nod. Good, good. All right. And please use the remote if you wish. Or you could do what I do and I say, Jackson, next slide. Okay, tips for entrepreneurs. Network with investors, introduce yourself, ask her for interest, invite interested people to come see you. We had a few 90-second presenters. You think 90 seconds is not enough, but they actually closed their $2 million round on the strength of their 90 seconds because they network like crazy. Hint, hint. Okay, keep your Gus profile up to date. And don't forget, VANTEC does share your recorded pitch and Gus profile with its members, and not only just with the members here locally in Vancouver, but we're part of a Pacific Northwest Super Angel group. And we've had a lot of Americans show interest in our VANTEC companies because I bring you all down there with me. Next. Okay, so please encourage you to contact with us. Lots of different ways. We're on Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, of course, our website. And if you all else fails, regular email info@vantec.ca. And with that, we're going to get started with our 90-second pitches. And first up is Boutey, followed by Flokk, followed by Cannabiscuit. So if you are here in person, could you please come up?
I'm online.
And if you're online, thank you. You're all queued up. The magical
Perfect.
team of
Thank
our
you.
team. All right.
Oh, hi, my name is Trina. I'm from Boutey. Boutey is the Haitian Creole word for bottle. I'm a certified project management professional and a certified wine professional. I'm here today to talk about a disruptive innovation, and that is 36 million bottles of wine are produced globally each year, and in Canada, none of these bottles are refilled. The bottles are crushed and sent to the US, and some of the crush is used to manufacture new bottles. It's used for fiberglass and other things. The disruptive innovation is wine bottle reuse, and so Boutey has developed a process to prepare wine bottles for refilling that will eliminate supply chain interruptions, reduce the soaring cost for wine bottles, and address the issue that from grape to bottle, 40% of the CO2 emissions are from the wine bottle. By comparison, beer bottles are reused up to 15 times and are back on the shelves in 3 days after collection. The market size, 60% of Canada's wine production is in 2 regions, that being BC and Ontario, and 84% of it in the US is in California. Between those 3 regions, you have about 200 million bottles of wine being produced annually. The pitch is for $250,000. It is a startup. The reuse bottle fee is $1, and that's about a 25% profit per bottle. And the typical bottle fee is $1.50, and it goes up for champagne glass. The expected growth is 20% year over year from years 1 to 5. And that's the end of my presentation. Thank you for having me out.
Thank you very much, Boutey. Next up is Flokk, followed by Cannabiscuit, followed by Refeed Farms. Flokk?
There we go. Canadian cow-calf production is a $2 billion industry, and today it's all managed by pen and paper. Over the next 24 months, this industry will digitize, and the pail of oats that's going to lead them to that is millions of dollars sitting on the table in certification for sustainability programs and experts. And the prod that's going to chase them is forthcoming federal traceability regulations. Flokk offers the next generation of digital herd management by providing a tool set that is with unprecedented affordability, ease of use,
And it provides a single point of data collection, which the producer uses at the animal side, and then submits information to various regulators, industry partners, and management analytics programs. Flokk offers a unique combination of affordability, rapid and easy implementation on the farm, and functionality that will rapidly displace the current paper-based practices. Livestock production is yet to realize the revolution in quality, cost efficiency, and profitability that digitization has delivered to grains and oilseeds productions. Flokk will do that for livestock. Our MVP is in place, and we're currently testing on 10 farms across Canada, Alberta, and we're starting a seed round early in 2023. Thank you for your time and attention, and complete information can be found at flokk.ca.
Thank you very much. Next up, we have Cannabiscuit. I believe they're online.
Correct.
Followed by Refeed Fams and Nutrienvisus.
Good day, everyone. Chances are, if you've had a pet in your life or known someone that has, you're aware of the deep bond that can develop between them. And we do about anything to help them live happier, healthier lives. I'm Anthony, the founder of Cannabiscuit Canada. We're an animal health sciences company focused on innovative hemp-based veterinary health products and treats for pets. We've launched with 2 product lines for dogs, including 5 plant-based veterinary health products and 3 hemp and insect-based treats. After just 24 months to market, our products are now available in over 650 veterinary clinic and pet specialty retailers across Canada. And we're poised to launch in Asia with a major distributor in South Korea. Our advisory team are passionate about the power of plant-based medicines and bring over 50 years of experience in applied and academic veterinary medicine. We built a strong management team with industry-specific experience and are poised to grow rapidly through development of an omni-channel sales network and additional brands. We're looking to build upon our successful launch with a focus on strategic marketing, sales channel development, and international market entrance. I'd love to hear from you should you be interested in learning more.
Thank you very much. That was Cannabiscuit. Okay, next up we have Refeed Farms, followed by Nutrienvisus, followed by Flash Forest.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. Hi, my name is Stuart Lilly. I'm the founder of Refeed Farms. Refeed is a circular, localized manufacturing company of soil microbiology and soil amendments to meet the growing demand of regenerative agriculture and creating community impact. Next slide. The problem is our food system is broken. 1/3 of all food in Canada is wasted. Conventional agriculture is a considerable contributor to greenhouse gas emissions, while our soil is depleting and is the lifeblood of agriculture. And it's depleted due to conventional agricultural practices as well as the climate change. Next slide. Our solution is localized manufacturing of these regenerative agricultural inputs using locally available agri-food byproducts. So we upcycle localized agri-food byproducts to feed people, livestock, and soil microbiology. And our community impact aspect is monitored and quantified through LCA modeling to quantify the social and environmental impact. Next slide. We are currently with a monthly recurring revenue of $60,000 a month. We have a projection of $2 million as we bring on our distribution and manufacturing. And we are looking to scale across the country with localized manufacturing with joint venture partners and be the marketer of those products being produced locally. Next slide. We are currently doing a seed round with a $3 million ask with 1.9 million committed. And we are a BC Venture Capital registered company as well. Thank you. Sorry, thanks.
Thank you very much. That was Refeed Farms. Next up is Nutrienvisus, followed by Flash Forest, followed by Gentle Processing. Nutrienvisus.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone.
Do you know that with too much or too little of nutrient, crop can suffer and produce low yield? Our company has developed an advanced organic nutrient to solve the problem. Next slide, please. I'm Lily Messer, the co-founder of Nutrienvisus. Next slide, please. Here's the fact. Precision agriculture can be 20 to 40% more effective to manage operation and reduce costs. Next slide, please. Currently, greenhouse growers have used our Enviatin product to grow more than 1 million first-grade plants with more vibrant flower and leaves, thanks to Enviatin, complete and balanced nutrient. Next slide, please. We increase profit for grower. Their production become more sustainable. They can reduce the use of synthetic chemicals. They can reduce greenhouse gas emission. Next slide, please. I'm looking forward to meeting with investors who would like to learn more about our business and learn about big opportunity. And also, please contact me if you would like to purchase our product, invest, and partner with us. Thank you.
Thank you, Nutrienvisus. Next up is gentle processing, followed by Save the Sea.
Hi, I am Leonard Youngworth, COO of QMTI Gentle Processing. The problem: the world is looking to Canada to help provide food security for our growing world population. Consumer demand for plant-based ingredients and food continues to grow at a compounded annual rate of 24% per year. Canada is the 5th largest producer of pulse crops and has the opportunity to grow its production of plant-based proteins to a $25 billion annual industry, according to Protein Industries of Canada. This will require large investments in processing capacity and novel technology. Solution: we can help food processors optimize their processes to make plant-based protein alternatives from peas, canola, hemp, and oats into tasty meat, cheese, milk, and RTE snacks. These commodities require a food safety step, flavor and texture improvements, and shelf life extension, ideally while retaining all their original nutrition. We have designed, built, and installed the equipment and process control software that can be integrated into production lines to make great tasting food at scale. We have validated the efficacy of our process and demonstrated our ability to make very commodity-specific processing recipes for more than 40 food processors. We are ready to scale our business in 2023. We're looking for investors who want to join us in our journey to support the transition to plant-based foods. We would appreciate introductions to any food processors that our technology may be able to assist. We look forward to hearing from you, and thank you for your time for allowing me to present.
Thank you, Gentle Processing. Next up, we should have Save the Sea. Should be a green light. There it goes.
Hi, everyone. My name is Aki. I'm the founder of Save the Sea. Next slide, please. Scientists are predicting our oceans will collapse by 2048. Consumer demand for seafood is outpacing species' ability to replenish themselves. The sad truth is we're running out of fish. Next slide, please. Save the Sea is a plant-based seafood company. Save the Sea is a plant-based seafood company, and we make products that are made from wholesome ingredients. Next slide, please. Sorry. I came up with the idea when I was running my family's Japanese restaurants. I became vegan and I was looking for seafood alternatives. I couldn't find any, and so I developed my own recipes. Next slide. In terms of market size, plant-based seafood is a white market space, but the category is predicted to grow to 1.3 billion by 2031. Next slide. At the same time, consumers are growing weary of hyper-processed plant-based products and a long list of unrecognizable ingredients. Next slide. Save the Sea makes products that are minimally processed and made from clean, simple ingredients. Our smoked salmon products are made from carrots, and our tuna salad is made from jackfruit. We're also gluten-free and soy-free. Next slide. We're in 500 retailers across Canada, including Whole Foods, Choices, and Sobeys nationally. Next slide. In our last fiscal year, we just did over 200K in revenue, but this was with just one product, our launch product, the plant-based smoked salmon. This fiscal year, we're projecting 750K in revenue and will be cash flow positive by Q3 of next year. Next slide. We're raising 500K on a safe, and proceeds will be to support our launch in the US early next year. If you're interested, please reach out. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Save the Sea. So that's the end of our 90-second pitches. If you are on the website, just scroll right down to the bottom where you can choose your favorite companies and we will connect you with them. And that will be the same story for our next set of presenters. There are 9 companies. They were very thoroughly pre-screened, and we think that they have something special, a little extra, and they've been chosen to give 3 minutes. Now, there won't be any Q&A here, but after all these presentations, we will be moving and reconfiguring the room, and a lot of the companies that you've heard today, including the 9 that are coming up, will have mini booths at these tables. So please do talk to them, do connect with them. So first up, we're going to call up Farment Biosolutions. After that, we'll hear from Picketa and Labora. So Farment Biosolutions.
I'm Ralph Lett from Farment Biosolutions. We're creating a nitrogen economy for farmers. Farmers face many challenges today. One's the removal of waste, typically in the form of manure, their increased reliance on synthetic nitrogen fertilizer. Supply chain uncertainty and government limits on synthetic nitrogen fertilizer are issues that farmers need to deal with. When it comes to managing waste, farmers stockpile the manure and have limits on how and when it can be applied. Transportation of manure is expensive. Other options include anaerobic digesters with high capital costs that are unsustainable without subsidies. This is a picture of our proprietary equipment. We call this one the Beast. It can take both solid and liquid manure systems. Our solution is a patented process that increases nitrogen content in manure by up to 500%. It's an organic fertilizer that creates a circular, decentralized nitrogen economy. We also produce biomethane. Our process is sustainable for a farmer without subsidies. Our business model is simple. We've taken a service approach. We decided to charge per ton for manure treated. The fertilizer will be processed on site using our mobile system. The market potential is huge. There's over 180 million tons of manure produced in Canada annually, 84% from cows. We're exploring debit and equity financing options for additional equipment in 2023. Our team is a strong team of farmers, biological farmers with deep technical engineering backgrounds. Some of our results have been very interesting. Independent tests have shown our CFU counts to be up to 1.5 billion per gram, compared to digestate with 350 million per gram. What this basically means is more buds equals more biogas. Lab tests have also shown that the nitrogen in the waste is increased by 500%. Living fertilizers are created using beneficial facultative microbes. The process is a proprietary blend of fungi and licensed non-thermal plasma technology that pulls N2 from the atmosphere. Nitrates are fed into the fermentation process, which achieves up to 50% nitrogen availability in the form of NH4 amino acids and proteins. We just completed a big job up in Prince George with 3,200 head of cattle. We charge $250 a ton. We've taken deposits for 4 farmers for next year's growing season. We leave for California next week, where we're doing a 100-ton trial on the biggest ranch in Western North America, with the potential of 150,000 tons annually. Our future markets include Ontario, Quebec, US, and the UK. Thank you very much for listening to us today.
Thank you very much. That was Farment Biosolutions. Some of you who are in this room will see a big QR code. So you can use that to vote for your favorite company. Next up is Picketa, followed by Labora, followed by Theorymesh. Picketa.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Håkon Peterson. I'm just going to introduce Xavier. I'm with East Valley Ventures out of New Brunswick, and we invested in Picketa because of the 4 young founders, but also, of course, because of their excellent product, which is able to provide near instantaneous nutrient content analysis for crops versus days via a traditional lab analysis, which has both huge economic and environmental implications. In the first year, we've been really impressed with their results. They're working with the 2 largest food processors in Eastern Canada, McCain's and Cavendish Farms, and they have completed 2,200 paid analysis across more than 60 farms. So I'd like to hand it over to Xavier of Picketa Systems.
Thank you, Hagan. That helps a lot. Hope you can see me and my screen right now.
Yes, we do.
Perfect. Well, couldn't have said it better myself. I'm Xavier of Picketa Systems. I'm out here in New Brunswick right now, but excited to meet with you all and kind of grow the network over here. So what we do is real-time plant tissue analysis. Right now, all across agriculture, farmers are getting scouts to put physical leaf tissue or pedule samples into paper bags and shipping them out to agricultural testing labs. Now, this process works if you're in research and time doesn't matter, but when you're growing commercially, that turnaround time is really important. Right now, it might take 4 to 10 days plus shipping to get those results, but you need them to be able to adjust what you're spraying in your field. So the problem we're going after is the process is slow, expensive, and unscalable. The data is needed to make the appropriate decisions for your fertilizers, and at the end of the day, you're leaving money in your field. If you're a farmer and you're spraying what gets not absorbed by the crop is not going to get back within crop yield or crop quality, so you're missing out. So within savings in fertilizer and increases in quality or yield, it's a $200 per acre plus difference. This was a study done on the island for potato farms, but we see this extending into many other crops in agriculture. Our solution is that we can get that data within a couple of minutes. Once you scan your leaves on site, we can detect deficiencies. So are you low on magnesium? Are you low on boron? Those types of information. We do all the nutrients that the lab would do, just much faster. So this helps farmers improve yields and also track the performances of new products, new processes, make sure that the crops are getting what they need. So taking a look at the process, what might take 5 to 10 days plus, you get in a couple minutes, and we share it on our platform for growers to see right when the results are available. So our business model, we're a hardware-enabled SaaS. So we have a partner with optics, and then we package that equipment for our clients. It's about $20,000 right now. We share that lease with the growers and then get paid for the analysis being done. And I know the panel mentioned knowing how the kind of go-to-market works. We work with the agronomists who are already taking samples for a lab. Our approach to them is that we'll do twice as many data points for the same price. You can do it independently on site, don't need to deal with UPS or shipping or labs. And that's usually a pretty good offer. Yeah. This was our fields in 2021 when we were still testing the equipment. We grew this year to over 62 farms in New Brunswick and PI, and we hope to do this all across Canada for next year. Our team comes from an agricultural background from northwestern New Brunswick, where a lot of the McDonald's fries are grown. On the team, we have a 5th generation potato farmer and also grew up on a dairy farm. So 20 years of farming experience on a relatively young team. And in the past, we've worked as field scouts as well as project managers for engineering firms. And we're now a full-time team of 10 employees working on this. We're also working with some of the biggest players in the agriculture industry. The top three here, McCain, Cavendish, and AgriMarts were all customers this year, as well as a couple other farms, agronomists, or funding organizations are included here. So right now I'm trying to raise a seed round. This will help us build a scalable system that we can bring to every farm and do multiple crops. Sell those into key markets and then build on that service to work with the farmers to add those new crops, add new capability, and get that turnaround time to near instant. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That was Picketa. Contact them through the contact information on the website agenda, and you can also contact their angel sponsor who spoke earlier. Speaking of another angel sponsor, Floyd, you would like to introduce Labora.
Yep. Hello, everyone. Great to be here virtually. That is. I'm about to introduce Renee to you, CEO and founder of Labora. He's an amazing guy that put a ton of work into this over the last year and a half, 2 years or so. And particularly in the last 6 months, he's made significant progress. Now he's going to be pushed by Mexican government to every possible one of his customers for free. Kind of a big deal. He's also the only approved company that can do retirement savings payments to Mexico for Mexican nationals in Canada. And he's doing a referral program that's going to be a big deal because $20 is a lot for an agrarian worker, but you're about to learn more about that. So he only needs a little bit of money now to really grab this amazing opportunity, and that's why he's here.
Yes. Hello, everyone. Meet Hector, a temporary worker from Mexico who works on a farm in Quebec. For 9 years, he has had the same problems. Every 2 weeks, he gets paid by check. He has to go to a physical bank to cash it and take that cash to Western Union to transfer it home. At home, a family member has to pick it up in cash, and this can be dangerous. In short, he pays too much, the transfer process is unsafe, inconvenient, and super time consuming. Good afternoon, I'm Rene, I'm originally from Mexico, and when I was doing my executive MBA in Canada, I used Labora to solve this problem. Labora is a digital Agtech for international money transfers. As you can see, Labora significantly shortens and improves the process. We are cheaper, convenient, and the platform is in Spanish. Importantly, we are the first and only company in Canada officially authorized to transfer money to workers' retirement plans in Mexico. Our remittances also allow workers to build a credit history back home. There is a unique opportunity to serve this market. Initially, we will focus on Mexican and Guatemalan workers, which represent 2/3 of the entire market, and then we will go to the US and leverage Canadian farms with operations there. How do we make money? We charge a $5 transaction fee, 0.40% of the exchange rate, and $60 for filing a tax return. The annual average revenue is $350 per worker per year, with room to expand it over time with additional services. There is a lot happening on the slides, but the takeaways are: first, we plan to break even after the coming farming season. Second, we have room to add additional services to increase the average revenue per user over time. And third, because of our government relations and partnerships and high retention, our acquisition cost will remain low. We have established government alliances with the Mexican consulates, the National Commission of Retirement Savings in Mexico, as well as labor authorities that recruit the workers that are sent each year. These agencies will actively promote Labora to all people they send out to Canada in the program for free, because it materially benefits these workers. Another crucial one: currently the market works on word of mouth. One worker tells another worker what to do. We will introduce a referral bonus of $20 for each worker brought on by another. I have a background in government and around team with SaaS experience and successful exits. We also have an amazing advisory board with extensive GTM and industry knowledge. We are looking to raise a seed round of $500,000 to scale our company in BC and across North America. The time to grow is now. We are excellently positioned to do so and completely ready for it. Please join us to help seasonal workers to improve their wealth and financial conditions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Labora. Next up is Theorymesh, followed by Crush Dynamics, followed by Techbrew. Theorymesh.
Great. Hopefully everyone can hear me okay.
Perfect.
Perfect. Good. So my name is Chris Bunio. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Theorymesh, and we're going to be digitizing the food supply chain. We heard a lot today about the challenges in the food system and some of the changes that are happening underlying, increased risks of food recalls, food-based illnesses affecting consumers, and the underlying trends of consumers wanting more information, food companies needing to drive innovation, and the regulation environment that's going to be coming forward. So we see all these factors converging at the same time as we see all the new technology coming into play across the agriculture and food industry. One of the big things that we don't talk about enough is that data across the supply chain today is very fragmented. So each of the different parts of the value chain are typically data silos, where we may have good data capture at the farm level with sensors, satellite imagery. We may have some work that's done on the ERP side with food and beverage processors, but information does not flow across these different channels. So if you're a consumer and you want to understand what's actually happened with your food, to be able to look at environmental practices or allergens or other areas, it's very difficult to get that in a digital format and have that be fact-based. We've built a SaaS-based platform that helps to solve that problem. So we can capture data from the farm and producers. We give them an app that's easy to use, easy to capture basic record keeping, integrates with farm management systems, and can pick up data like satellite imagery and increasingly areas like soil testing and nutrient testing to give the full story of crops from the farm. We work with food processors to provide them a built for the food industry solution that tracks their processes right from grain coming in the front door to when it leaves their processing, and we can help them optimize with machine learning. And we provide tools for brands to be able to get that to consumers. So we can generate QR codes that represent pretty much anything in our system, and a consumer portal that allows food brands to tell their story through that type of data. What we're seeing so far is that across that value chain, we can help companies increase their revenue and decrease the time it takes for them to process information, recalls, and just get away from the paper-based systems that are there today. Underlying that is an increased revenue and trust pretty much across the whole food supply chain as they start to digitize. In the US and Canada, we're going to see this be a big market driven by regulation and consumer demand. So we're looking at about a $1.7 billion software opportunity across the food processing space and another $1.1 billion in the farm and primary producer space. The competition for us today is really, the main thing we run into is paper and spreadsheet, which anyone in food understands. But then there are some software systems out there today. They tend to focus on specific verticals and don't go completely across that supply chain. We have traction today with some public customers that we've announced, looking at grain processing and the plant protein space and really looking at applying AI to plant proteins for optimization. We have a number of other areas where we've got pilots and customer conversations on the go. We're expecting to reach about 100K of revenue this year, aiming towards just over $1 million in next year, and really looking at that being primarily ARR. Right now, we're raising a $1 million seed round. We're looking to that to extend and go past a $1 million ARR and really investing in our development capability and business and sales. Our founding team is technology and agriculture, primarily with the ops background to be able to help us be successful with what we're trying to do here. We've moved fast in the first 18 months of operation, getting from MVP into customer contracts and picking up different accolades along the way. And I'd love to hear from you if you're interested in helping us digitally transform that food space. That QR code links to my Calendly profile to be able to directly book time with our team for a follow-up session. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much. That was Theorymesh. Next up is Crush Dynamics, followed by Techbrew, followed by INHUB Farms. Crush Dynamics.
Thank you. All right, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Kirk Moyer. Next slide, please. So most important question, who's our customer? Well, it's food ingredient producers producing the next generation of food. Next slide, please. So where do we come in? Well, we're in the business of transformation. That is the upcycling of high tannin agricultural side streams, starting with winemaking derivative and turning them into high performance food ingredients. Next slide, please. So here's a picture of our first generation high performance food ingredients, our gold puree and our ruby puree. And as the slide says, already proven in a wide variety of food applications. Next slide, please. The market for what we do is already enormous at $18 billion per year, and coming our way as the world and the consumer world demands clean label solutions. Next slides, please. Our market opportunity in plant-based alone is over $1 billion per year. Next slide, please. We're in market traction with 4 organizations now. You can go to the grocery store and buy products with us inside. We're already designed into a further 4, and as the slide says, in trials with a number of organizations, both large and small. Next slide, please. Our value proposition is very, very strong for our food producer customers. We enable them to produce next generation food formulations that are more nutritious, taste better, and are longer lasting. Next slide, please. Of course, we face significant competition from various incumbents in this market, but when it comes to delivering outstanding nutrition at very affordable prices, we're quite unique in this market. Next slide, please. We spent last year validating our product in application, validating our pricing at between $12 and $18 for a wet food ingredient, and validating our margins at approximately 50%. This year has really been about expanding our beachhead, both in terms of in our initial market segments as well as new food sectors. And our vision remains the same in terms of expansion, in terms of geographies, products, as well as input materials like cranberry crush, also high in tannins, as well as getting our costs down to approximately $1 per kilogram. Next slide, please. Our competitive advantage is very strong, very focused on intellectual property, very focused on our proprietary fermentation capability and the core idea of taming the tannins, which we'd love to talk about further over drinks later. Next slide, please. Our team is strong and we continue to strengthen it, including with our new VP Sales, Sean Richmond, who has extensive commercialization experience with innovative food ingredients, most recently stevia. Next slide, please. Because of Sean and our strong value proposition, we're engaged in a number of discussions with potential food ingredient partners. Next slide, please. To support that accelerated engagement, we are raising $2 million with Turnham Green, an existing investor, coming in with a term sheet for 25% of that. We're raising that $1.5 million from existing as well as new investors from communities like this one, as well as Plug and Play Food in Sunnyvale, California, who just chose us as one of their global food innovators. Next slide, please. With that, let me say thank you, and I look forward to your questions later.
Thank you, Crush Dynamics. Next up is Techbrew, followed by INHUB Farms, followed by Skyacres. Techbrew.
All right. Thank you, Sean. I want to leave a really quick introduction to Techbrew. So we led their round of financing about a year ago with the general view that we believe that they could be, and certainly we believe today that they are the most advanced company in the world when it comes to robotics and automatically picking mushrooms in these big mushroom facilities. We led their first financing to get them through to commercialization, which they're at today. Super excited to be an investor in them, leading a subsequent round on the board of Techbrew.
Thank you so much, Sean, and great to meet you in person today. So good afternoon, everybody. My name is Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Rob Snowden. I'm the business development manager at Techbrew Robotics. Spent 30 plus years over on the beautiful North Shore, but 4 months ago relocated up to Salmon Arm to take our robots to market. So next slide, if you don't mind. I'm here to answer 3 questions for you over the next 2 minutes and 45 seconds. Really, the first question is who cares? Second question is why we're going to win. And third question I want to answer for you is how we're all going to make money together. So first question is really around who cares. And at the end of the day, it's the largest mushroom producers in the world. That's who cares. As you can see up here, with mushroom production, up to 50% of the cost of producing mushrooms is in the harvesting, getting them off the beds. It's a very labor intensive process. The crops grow very, very quickly. A mushroom room will fully produce a crop and be steamed out in a month. So we're talking 12 crops a year across farms ranging in from 20 to 40 rooms. Next slide, please. And with our technology, which I am happy to show you in video, but I didn't want to encounter technical challenges up here. With our robots, we see ourselves picking at the same rate as 4 harvesters. And the reason that is because we are able to harvest 24/7, whereas on the previous slide we saw there, mushroom harvesting is not done 24/7. It's done in shifts, 6 to 8 hour shifts. And at the pilot farm that we're on in Abbotsford right now, from about 4 p.m. in the afternoon until 6 a.m. the next day, there's no mushrooms being pulled. And in a crop that doubles in mass every 24 hours, you can see how there's huge potential with graze picking and the potential for 24/7 harvesting. Next slide, please. Here's a quick comparison with some competitors as well as human harvesters. So again, some of the metrics, the best human harvesters are picking 50 pounds an hour with less than 5% damage. And then you can see where we meet all the metrics, and our competitors just haven't solved the problem to the same extent we have. Next slide, please. And what I wanted to show with this slide is that we're not talking onesies and twosies. We're not talking about a couple of robots on a farm. These are our pilot customers here. Highline Mushrooms in North America, Northway Mushrooms in Ireland, and Bonk and Champignon in the Netherlands. And you can see that through our 3 pilot customers, there's potential for up to 1,000 robots. And then some of the relationships that we're building currently, so we're talking thousands of robots going to market here very, very shortly. Next slide, please. I'm going to be very, very quick on the revenue slide here because I'm running out of time. But in short, in the next couple of years, we're really focused on getting robots into market. But there's going to be huge potential with machine learning, artificial intelligence, both downstream and upstream with the producers to see huge profitability in years 3 and 4. Next slide, please. And this is meant to just be a visual of our journey to date. So we're about 3 years and about $9 million in equity and grants into the process. But you can see we're gearing up for a big raise and focus being on getting robots to market in 2023. So I'll be around all afternoon. Again, have some great videos to share if you'd like to see them in action. And I really appreciate your time. Thank you.
Hello.
All right, thank you. That was INHUB Farms. Sorry, Techbrew. Next is INHUB Farms. I'm so ahead of myself. I'm interested in the food and drink that's being set up in the back. All right, don't everybody crane your necks at the same time. All right, so let's have, that was a big hand for Techbrew, and now we're coming up to INHUB Farms, followed by Sky Acres, followed by Plantsome.
So I'd like to give it a quick intro to INHUB Farms. I've been actually following them nearly 3 years ago, where they were still based in Quebec. They've got really deep domain knowledge in growing mushrooms. They moved to BC and developed an amazing, unique process of growing shiitake and other high-value mushrooms on logs. I've been mentoring the team through Foresight. Really impressed by the progress that they're making and excited about what they're going to do when they're going to bring their technology to market. There's a large pent-up demand for mushrooms. There's a shortage in the market, so timing is everything. Over to you, Patrick.
Hi, it's working. Hi, everyone. I'm Patrick, CEO of INHUB Farms, mushrooms for people and planet. We grow wild mushrooms in the city. Yeah, it's a delay. Mushrooms are grown on dirty, fragmented wood sourced from the shave the forest industry. 95% of that wood actually comes from overseas, more than 10,000 kilometers away. That is crazy food miles, and the carbon footprint is bigger than meat. We grow mushrooms on clean, integral solid wood while improving our local forests. We use robotics and genomics combined with nature's power to grow wild mushrooms in matrix-style grow pods right in the city. We have 80% less of a carbon footprint. We use 99% less plastic, and we have 85% gross margins. We outdo imports. We have sustainable forestry operations, automated grow systems, and we use robotic processes from end to end. We grow shiitake mushrooms, oysters, and lion's mane's mushrooms. It's pure, fresh flavor. Our unique tech allows us to grow chicken of the wood mushrooms. It's the perfect meat alternative with one ingredient, 21% protein, looks like chicken, tastes like chicken, and has all the essential amino acids. We raised 1.5 million, completed an 8,000 square foot pilot, and got a LOI to supply Costco in all of Western Canada. We are the only mushroom company that has full traceability and full automation. The mushroom market is huge. We need a domestic supply. We sell to national chains and distributors fresh local mushrooms with full traceability. We plan on opening 14 farms across North America, starting with the Vancouver area. For 2023, we're going to ramp up our Okanagan production facility and open the first commercial farm in Vancouver area. As our partners, we have the Ministry of Forests, the NRC, IAF, Foresight, and we're part of Rocket Builders. I have deep roots in the mushroom industry, spanning over 20 years. I know the industry, its problems, and how to solve them with tech. Isabella has 10 years experience in the startup scene. Henry, he's our automation tech guy, and Philip, he's our PhD who keeps a really tight ship in the lab. We're raising capital to fulfill our Costco LOI and to complete the team to be ready to scale this up. The mushroom space is booming. We have the solution and the timing is perfect. Let's talk mushrooms.
Thank you very much, INHUB Farms. Next up, we have Sky Acres, followed by Plantsome.
Hello, everyone. My name is Ishan, founder of Sky Acres. I'd like to start off. I'd like to start off by getting all of you to imagine paying $10 for just 2 tomatoes. You might be thinking of a rare price spike. Maybe it was caused by those floods we had last year, but $10 is what people living in rural or First Nations communities in Canada are paying every day, or $8.19 if you qualify for the subsidy. This may explain why over half of all food insecure people in Canada are from First Nations communities, amounting to over 2 million people. The cost of food transportation to these food deserts is the main driver. Causing millions of tons of emissions. Transporting food that goes stale even before it reaches places like northern BC. Processed foods are the only affordable and appealing option, causing devastating health effects, as diseases like diabetes are 5 times more likely in these communities. What if there was a way to grow high quality, affordable produce locally? That's where we come in. We are Sky Acres, one of Canada's first social impact vertical farming companies. We set up vertical farming facilities in these rural areas. We hire local people to help us grow this produce, and we make money by selling this produce directly to local grocery stores. We've developed an ultra low cost, patent pending, modular indoor vertical farming system that sends a perfect mist of nutrient water directly to plants, using 94% less water than traditional farming. Our systems allow us to grow 37 different pesticide-free fruits, vegetables, and plant-based protein, not just leafy greens. Unlike our competitors, we use solar collectors and fiber optics to carry sunlight and heat into our facilities while keeping the cold out, reducing the electricity costs by 46% in the summer months. We use artificial intelligence to dynamically change growing parameters and optimize growth. But our most exciting breakthrough allows us to capture carbon from the air and use it to our advantage to supply our systems with clean carbon dioxide instead of purchasing carbon dioxide canisters from unsustainable sources. Our research and our awards got us our first non-dilutive funding, who are by the NRC and Innovate BC, who are fully funding our pilot project in Northern BC in the Newalk First Nations. Here we can sell those same 2 tomatoes for $4 instead of 10, saving costs up to 75%. We're also planning a larger facility in an airplane hangar to supply fresh produce to the entire community and beyond. This is a unique market opportunity where we can not only make produce affordable, but we can also fund our R&D and be profitable. Just 3 strategically placed facilities gives us a $20 million annual market opportunity, with facilities breaking even as year 2. There is a $580 million food subsidy program, and this is why taxpayers want to get rid of this program, and this is why there are so many grants out there that will fund 75% of a project such as ours. Our board of advisors include current vertical farming experts who have an operational large-scale vertical farm. My team of vertical farming experts and Indigenous entrepreneurs are on a mission to alleviate food security. We have a vertical farming executive from a $1 billion cannabis farming company on our executive team, with mentors from University of Toronto and SFU. We have recently closed $750,000 round, a dilutive round, and we are expected to be listed on the Canadian Stock Exchange in Q2 of 2023 and access 2.7 million from a recognized institutional investor. So we are not looking for funding at this time, but what we are looking for is mentorship. Our ideal mentor has knowledge of the Agtech sector, connections to large-scale grocery store chains, and knowledge in operations and logistics. And we are looking to fill a board seat on our board of directors. We hope you will join us on our mission to alleviate food security by making farming more efficient, sustainable, and accessible. Thank you.
Yes. All right. Next up is Plantsome.
Great. So I just want to quickly introduce Kevin. I am an investor in Plantsome. I sit on their board. I'm super excited to introduce Kevin and Plantsome today. They're doing really, really great things. You know, at a time when e-commerce revenues are taking a hit post-COVID and acquisition costs of customers and online shopping are going up, Plantsome's metrics are going the exact opposite. Their revenues are going up, acquisition costs are going down. So I'd really encourage you to give Plantsome some consideration in your investment portfolio. Kevin, over to you.
Thank you, Mike, and thank you, VANTEC, for having us back. My name is Kevin Tollenaars. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Plantsome. We deliver beautiful tropical and outdoor plants directly to your front door. Next slide, please. This company was started out of personal frustration a few years ago when I was shopping online to get a plant for a friend. I came up empty-handed, and this was frustrating for me because in this day and age, we can buy anything online, from prescription glasses to mattresses, even to cars. So why is it that something that seems so simple, like getting a plant delivered to a front door, is actually so hard? And I started to dig deeper into this industry and figured out why. what's going on? Can I go back to the original slide that I was just on? Thank you. The actual wholesale growers have beautiful greenhouses that allow for beautiful growth of crops, but they don't have the expertise and e-commerce know-how to get individual plants boxed up in the right packages to ship them nationwide across Canada. E-commerce companies who have really mastered the skill of shipping individual products to homes really don't have the facility to care for these plants and ensure that they can box them up and get them to homes in a safe way. And the retail stores and the local nurseries don't have the technical know-how or the footprint to deliver large volumes of plants to homes all over Canada. Next slide. This is why we've come up with Plantsome. We've delivered an unrivaled shopping experience to get you a collection of over 200 indoor and outdoor plants that you can shop from the comfort of your home. With 5 easy to answer questions, you can select a subset of that assortment that is just right for your home and get it delivered within days of ordering it from us. We ship it from a greenhouse straight to your front door, and we've done this over tens of thousands of times, so we know what it takes to get a living product in a box to your home. Our Plantsome app finally helps you take care of your plants, because we know how stressful it can be to have multiple plants in your house. That app gets you the ability to get custom water and fertilizer alerts sent straight to your phone exactly on time, so you know exactly when it's time to water your plants. This industry-leading value proposition allows us to become the leading brand of plants in Canada and North America. Next slide. In just 2.5 years, we've exceeded revenues of $3.3 million. Our business has very healthy gross margins, and our reviews are 4.7 out of 5. I highly encourage you to go online and check them out. We are also very diligent about our ad spend, as just mentioned, and we bring back $6 in revenue for every dollar of marketing we're spending. We're also very happy to see that we're still growing in these tough economic and e-commerce times. Next slide. The addressable market for plants is huge. This is a $40 billion industry that's highly fragmented, comprised of tens of thousands of smaller players, but no leading brand in North America. This is why we believe now is the time to invest in one major brand that can take a leading role. Next slide. As I said before, our investments in greenhouse e-fulfillment capabilities, as well as our platform, allows us to build a unique moat around our business that our competitors do not have. Next slide. Our team knows what it takes to scale an e-commerce business. We have a combined 40 years of experience in running e-commerce companies, and we have the marketing, development, and e-commerce business skills to take this company to the next level. Next slide. We are looking at a capital raise of $1.5 million. I'm excited to tell you that we're 60% subscribed at a pre-money valuation of $6.65 million, with 2 of the largest industry growers in the industry already part of our current round. And I'm excited to tell you more and also showcase some of the plants in the boxes in the coming hour. So thank you.
Thank you. That was Plantsome and the final 3-minute presentation. Now, we haven't forgotten the people online. So if you have questions, make sure you put them in the chat and we'll make sure that they're forwarded to the companies and people who are in the room. While you get a treat, you can actually ask the companies directly, face to face, because we're going to reconfigure the room in just a few moments. So this brings the end of our VANTEC meeting. Today, our next VANTEC meeting will be a general meeting starting at 4 o'clock with networking at 3:30. That's on December 5th. And the next meeting after that will be a regular meeting in January. And then we have 3 more themed meetings. We're looking at big data, climate tech, and life sciences to round things off in June. So hope to see you all then. So I want to thank everybody for coming, and I want to thank the crew who's been doing an awesome job. I mean, it's not, we're tech entrepreneurs and tech investors, and when you know, we always have tech problems, but these guys really pulled through. Thank you, Wendy, Jackson, Mateus, Peter, and thank you to my colleague Frank Leffelaar for putting together the Agtech panel. So thank you, everyone. I'm Thelza Lee, and I'll see you next time. Bye.